You may believe that the only way to get a panettone is to go to the shops and pick a box from the shelves at this time of year. But actually they're quite easy to make. You'll need eggs. When you separate the eggs, keep the yolks. You're going to need them. And the whites can be used afterwards for meringues. I take a few liberties when making this cake, but you will need the butter. Instead of mixing it with the fruit and the sugar, I tend to mix it and blend it with the flour first of all. Nutmeg comes in after I've mixed the dried ingredients. Then there's the yeast. People are terrified of yeast. I make a ferment. I keep some of the flour back and then mix it in with the yeast. In this case, I had a block of yeast, but it's the same process if you're using dried yeast. You make a ferment using blood temperature water, so it's not warm. You put the ferment in and wait until it floats. It's now full of air. You can put it into a well, add the liquids, and simply beat it up. It's very, very simple, really. And the fear people have is the yeast itself. But actually, once you've mixed it, dried it out a little bit with an extra bit of flour when necessary, and then knocked it into shape, it's just a matter of leaving it in the kitchen. You don't need it to be cold. You don't need it to be hot. You don't have to put it in a hot press or into a fridge. Just leave it into a bowl that you've greased and let it rise. Then knock it back. Knock back means just beat the air that's built up into it. Beat that air out. So you will knock it back, roll it over a few times, just until you feel that it's gone back to its original size, and then let it rise again. You're going to have to make a bag, because a tin of this shape would be impossible. This bag is in 3 layers. I use a saucer to gauge how large the cake is actually going to be. So it's nice, it's small, and then fold the bag, cut it so like you would with cloth when you want to make a pattern, so that it folds over, and when the bread itself is put in, it will actually hold the bag in place so that the cake doesn't escape around the bottom of the bag. That's your big, because if it does, it's just not going to have the shape you want. So press it down, make sure it completely fills out the bottom of the bag so that it will not burst out. At this point, you can put steam in the oven as the oven heats. Steam really helps rise the bread in the oven. So if you're worried about yeast, the steam helps. The glaze gives the panettone its special look. So that's what the eggs were all about, and it really works. We put it into a hot oven, 200 degrees, and leave it there for maybe about 20 minutes. Take out the steam at this point. Turn down the oven to about 180 and have a look. The butter paper will stop it going any browner than that and will protect it. Take it out. When you beat the bottom, it'll sound hollow, or you can put a skewer through it, and if it's still damp, you'll know. But about an hour, I think it takes to cook. And there you have it. One beautiful, magnificent looking panettone.